UFC Abu Dhabi takes place this weekend, and in this video, I'm going to be giving you my exact predictions for how I think every fight in the card is going to play out. So without further ado, let's get into the picks. First fight of the night, we got Marcin Buday taking on Marcus Buchecha. Now, Marcus Buchecha is making his UFC debut. He's a multiple-time IBJJF world champion, 5+ times winning that belt. And he's fought high-level opponents at ONE FC. All of his opponents have like a 3-0, 4-0, 5-0 record, so they're not like giving him cans on his way up the rankings. And in my opinion, if he doesn't get takedowns early, Marcus Buchecha's cardio is going to completely fall off a cliff. Now, Marcin Buday, is he the guy that's going to get taken down in round 1 and submitted? Well, let's look at the factors. He's 6-1 in the UFC. He's come in as a favorite in all 7 UFC fights. His only loss came to Shamil Gaziev in a fight where he just got completely outpowered, outpressured, which is not in Marcus Buchecha's game plan. Marcin Buday also has a 100% takedown defense, granted not against the highest level wrestlers at heavyweight, but nonetheless, he's never been taken down inside of a UFC octagon. He's going to go to one of two ways. Marcus Buchecha is going to win by round 1 finish, or Marcin Buday is going to win literally every other way. Round 2 finish, round 3 finish, or by decision. And if Marcin Buday has more paths to victory, I'm taking him to win. Plus 240, greasy heavyweight fight. You know, it's never bad to take the underdog at the heavyweight level, considering Marcin Buday actually has numerous wins at the UFC level. So for those reasons, we're going to go with Marcin Buday to win by decision. Next fight in the card, we got Muhammad Yahya as a plus 270 underdog taking on Stephen Nguyen. And this is just a battle of two low-level MMA prospects. This is kind of like Nikolai Vretnikov taking on Francisco Prado last week. At the end of the day, both guys are not going to do well in the UFC. This is only happening because Muhammad Yahya is from Abu Dhabi and they want to just have a hometown fighter on the card. Muhammad Yahya's skill set is, I don't know. I don't really know what he's good at. He's not really good at wrestling. He's not really good at volume striking. And he doesn't really possess much power. So I don't really know what he brings to the octagon. At least Stephen Nguyen, I can say, throws with high volume. He has decent power. He has some finishes on his resume against high-level guys. And he's just well-rounded overall in MMA. I'm not going to bore you with too many more details about this fight. I honestly think Stephen Nguyen should and will get the KO finish against Muhammad Yahya. If he doesn't get the finish against Yahya, Stephen Nguyen will never do good in the UFC. This is kind of like a layup matchup for Stephen Nguyen, so he should go out there and get the finish. Next fight on the card, we got Ibo Aslan as a minus 250 favorite taking on Billy Elekana. And Ibo Aslan, he is high power, high octane, 14 wins, 14 KOs. He has a slight height and reach advantages in this matchup. The biggest problem with him is he has 1 round of cardio for the most part, although he has some late finishes. And he struggles when a grappler is trying to grapple him heavily. Now, Billy Elekana, what do we know about him? He's a decent striker. He's got decent grappling. He controlled Bogdan Guskov for the entire first round, had his back for the entire first round, could not get the sub, and then his cardio fell off a cliff in round 2 when he got finished. Now, Billy Elekana is on a full camp, so maybe full camp Billy Elekana will be able to have more grappling success in the UFC, especially against a guy like Ibo Aslan. But at the end of the day, I just simply can't justify Billy Elekana as an underdog pick. He's just way too unknown, and almost all of his victories are by decision. It's not like he's finding submission victories left and right. Although he has a grappling background, and that's how he wins fights by decision, I don't expect that to work against a physically more capable guy like Ibo Aslan. So I think Ibo Aslan is just going to add to his KO victories. I think he's going to get a 15th win and a 15th KO against Billy Elekana. Next fight on the card, we got Amanda Ribas taking on Tabatha Ricci as I think the only women's fight on the entire card. Now, this is kind of a mirror matchup. We got a
high-volume striker who can mix in takedowns, taking on a high-volume striker who can mix in takedowns. Now, the biggest difference is, which is why I'm picking who I'm picking, is Amanda Ribas lands more than she gets hit, while Ricci gets hit more than she lands. And also, Ribas averages less takedowns, sure, but she completes them at a higher rate. Meanwhile, Tabatha Ricci averages more takedowns, but completes them at a lesser rate.
So this is the long-winded way of saying I'm going with the favorite here, Amanda Ribas, to win by decision. I think this is going to show levels to Tabatha Ricci. Now, granted, Tabatha Ricci has fought her fair share of women in the strawweight division already, but I think Amanda Ribas is just going to show her veteran savvy in this one. I think as long as she doesn't just get held against the cage, I think she will win this fight. Next fight on the card, we got Blackshear taking on Davey Grant. Now, this is a tricky fight to predict because I think as long as it stays standing, I think Davey Grant will actually have the advantage in the striking. He throws more volume and he gets hit less often than Damon Blackshear. So as long as it stays standing, Damon Blackshear, I believe, will be losing the striking exchanges. But the biggest thing that I'm looking at is the bottom tabs. We got the height, reach, and age advantages for Damon Blackshear, and his main path to victory, which is sub. Davey Grant has had 4 of his 7 losses come by submission. Although Davey Grant is a good submission specialist himself, he still has been submitted 4 times inside of an MMA octagon. So for those reasons, I just can't get behind a Davey Grant by decision pick. I just can't do it. I'm going with Damon Blackshear by submission. I think he's going to find it at some point in the fight. He's going to go for takedowns. Davey Grant, I believe, since he's a BJJ nerd type, I think he'll just let the takedowns happen so he can try to find a sub off his back. And once that happens, I think Damon Blackshear is going to work his way to a sub. Now, if you're liking the video so far, make sure you leave a like and let me know in the comments who your favorite underdog on the entire card is. I love to talk about the UFC. Let's continue. Next fight on the card, we got Muslim Salikhov as a plus 375 underdog taking on Carlos Leal. Now, when I first looked at this matchup, I was like, oh, maybe Muslim Salikhov can, use his karate style to keep Carlos Leal at bay and just win a greasy decision. But the more I look into it, Muslim Salikhov is really only having success against old heads, or he's having success against guys that stand still and don't really move and dive into his game plan. I think Carlos Leal is going to flip the script here. He's a powerful striker. He's got big KO power. He should be undefeated in the UFC because he had a robbery loss to Rinat Fakhretdinov. He's going to have the height, reach, and age advantages, 10 years younger than Muslim Salikhov, and I just can't get behind a Muslim Salikhov decision bet, which is why I'm going with Carlos Leal by KO. It's very similar to the previous fight. I think if the previous one stays standing, Davey Grant by decision has a great chance, and if Carlos Leal just entertains Muslim Salikhov's karate style, I think Salikhov could win by decision, but I just keep going back to the fact that there's a tremendous age gap, and I think that comes with a speed advantage, and for those reasons, I think Carlos Leal wins by KO. Next fight on the card, we got Bryce Mitchell taking on Saeed Nurmagomedov, who's coming in as a plus 110 underdog. I completely butchered that name, Jesus. Anyways, Bryce Mitchell, he's a heavy grappler with decent striking. He's making his bantamweight debut, and I'm not going to bore you with all the details. This is going one of 2 ways. Bryce Mitchell is either going to successfully get takedowns and control Saeed for 15 minutes and win a decision, or Saeed is going to snatch Bryce's neck on one of these takedown attempts and get the submission. There's no other scenario that can possibly happen. I consulted Dr. Strange. I went into the multiverse. There is literally nothing else that can happen except Mitchell decision or Saeed sub. And it's just basically a coin flip with what you're going to take. I'm taking Saeed Nurmagomedov by sub. I mean, let's just be honest. Bryce Mitchell got ninja choked by Gene Silva in his last fight. He got submitted by Ilia Topuria, who was a better grappler than him. So it's just going to come down to who's the better grappler. Who is it? And I'm going to lean with the Nurmagomedov. Next fight on the card, we got Nikita Krylov as a minus 190 favorite taking on Bogdan Guskov. And ultimately speaking, I'm not going to bore you with the breakdown again. This fight is ending one of 2 ways. Nikita Krylov is either going to have massive takedown success and get a submission early, or he's going to falter with takedowns, and the longer this fight stays standing, the longer Bogdan Guskov has to knock him out. Now, Bogdan Guskov, he's been taken down and controlled in the first round by 3 out of 4 of his UFC opponents. The only person who didn't do that was Zach Pauga, who's not good. Who's just simply not good. Billy Elekana did it, Volkan Oezdemir did it, Ryan Spann did it, and I truly think that Nikita Krylov is going to do the same thing. I'm taking Nikita Krylov to win this by sub. I'm saying in the first round. Now, there's a lot of recency bias against Nikita. He did get knocked down round 1 by Dominic Reyes, but that was just on a counter, right? I don't think Bogdan Guskov has that in his game. Dominic Reyes has also way better takedown defense than Bogdan Guskov. Dialing back the clock, and we're going to see prime Nikita Krylov. He should win this fight. He should get it to the mat, and once it gets to the mat, he should find the finish. Next fight on the card, we got Almabaev as a -105 underdog, taking on Jose Ochoa. Now, in this one, Asu is a decent striker, not the best, but he's also a relentless takedown artist. He's basically the flyweight version of Merab Dvalishvili. No cap. Usually when I make it a comparison like that, it's a little egregious, but I feel like Asu really is the flyweight Merab. Now, if you look at Jose Ochoa, he's from Shooter Box, and almost all Shooter Box fighters fight the same way. They're going to pressure forward, they're going to have elite jiu-jitsu as well, and they're going to have big power. Jose Ochoa has shown holes in his takedown defense, but all 8 of his wins have come by finish. So even in fights where he gets taken down early, he more than often finishes that fight by KO or submission. Now, if we're going to look a little deeper, we have to dive deeper in order to get a good read on this fight. This is a short notice bout for Jose Ochoa. Meanwhile, Asu Almabaev has been in Abu Dhabi training for over a month because he thought he was going to fight Ramazan Tamirov. Ramazan Tamirov is a big power puncher similar to Jose Ochoa, and he's probably going to have the same game plan he did against Ramazan, which is shoot for relentless takedowns. Asu's only loss in the UFC was an eye-poke TKO against Manel Kape in a fight where he just got relentlessly eye-poked, and the ref didn't call a single one, and then they just called the fight to end by KO. It was a fugazi KO. So, for those reasons, I'm going to go with the more experienced guy by a long shot, Asu Almabaev, to win by decision. As long as he gets takedowns, he will win this fight. Even Cody Durden had success with takedowns against Jose Ochoa, and if Asu strings them together, I think he's going to win this fight very easily. Next fight on the card, we got Sharabutdin as a -650 favorite taking on Marc-André Barriault. And in this one, my first instinct when I first looked at this was Marc-André Barriault should win this fight. I think Sharabutdin is completely overrated. Like, completely. His KO power is kind of gassed up. He got that double spinning back fist KO against Armen Petrosyan, and now everyone thinks he's like a god tier striker. But if you look a little deeper, he's not throwing with insanely high volume. He doesn't possess crazy KO power, and you will never see him shoot for a takedown. So he's very one-dimensional, and one-dimensional fighters don't really do well as they progress up the rankings of the UFC. Now, Marc-André Barriault, you can dig into him and be like, oh, this guy's not really that good either. He doesn't throw with the most volume as well. He has similar power to Sharabutdin. He has worse durability as he's been KO'd multiple times already at the UFC level. He's 6-8 in the UFC, and his wins, I listed them right there, they're all mid. Abu Azaitar, Dalcho Lugambula, Jordan Wright, Julian Marquez, Eric Anders, Bruno Silva, all those guys would get destroyed by Sharabutdin. So for those reasons, it's not really a convincing pick, but I am taking the -650 favorite, Sharabutdin. Now, it is going to be sneaky for him to win by decision, which is a prop that I will dive into later in this video. The co-main event of the evening, we got Petr Yan as a -350 favorite taking on Marcus McGhee, who I guess is ranked number 12. I thought he was unranked, but there's just 0% chance that I'm taking Marcus McGhee. I'm not boring you with the breakdown, all right? Petr Yan is a well-rounded striker, decent takedowns. This is a huge step down in competition. He's fighting someone outside of the top 10 for the first time in his career since 2019. All 5 of his losses have come by decision, and he's 10-4 to the decision. So even the fights that he's losing are razor close decisions, and the fights that he's winning that go to decision, he is showing that he's the better fighter. Now, Marcus McGhee, he's well-rounded. He's got big KO power. He trains at the MMA lab. But at the end of the day, this is just too much of a step up in competition. He beat 4 unranked fighters, and we're going to say Jonathan Martinez is a great win. I mean, Jose Aldo nearly KO'd Jonathan Martinez himself, so I'm just not buying it. I need to see it with my own eyes, Marcus McGhee winning, for me to believe that he deserves to be in this spot. So Petr Yan by decision. The main event of the evening, Robert the Reaper Whittaker taking on Reinier the Ritter. And in this one, Robert Whittaker is, high volume. He's well-rounded. He's got decent takedown defense. Reinier the Ritter is low volume, but he does have elite BJJ. So it just comes down to how early can Reinier the Ritter get this fight to the ground? Well, people will say Khamzat got it to the ground very easily in round 1. People will say Dricus got it very easily to the ground in round 1. But at the end of the day, Reinier the Ritter has not fought anyone close to the level of Robert Whittaker. He's fought in ONE FC against, I guess, decent level guys, and the ones that he lost to were the undefeated ones. He got knocked out twice by the same guy. I said he's fought in the UFC. Kevin Holland, Bo Nickel, Gerald Mearshart. No one is near the level of Robert Whittaker. And Reinier the Ritter, you might be like, oh, he's a hyped up prospect. But guess what? He's 34 years old, as is Robert Whittaker. This reminds me a lot of last week's matchup, Paulo Costa versus Roman Kopylov. Everyone's writing off Paulo Costa, in this case Robert Whittaker, because they want room for the new, the new shiny toy, Reinier the Ritter. Just not buying it. I just don't think it's going to happen. I think Robert Whittaker is going to find the finish here. I do not think this goes all 5 rounds. I think Robert's going to have the speed advantage, and as long as he has that, he's going to be able to go in and out of the pocket, in and out of range, tire Reinier the Ritter, and eventually I think he's going to find a retirement KO. I think at some point Reinier the Ritter is just not going to get off the stool. I'm going to predict that to happen at the end of round 3, going into round 4. Reinier the Ritter has lost by retirement before, just by giving up in the fight. For all those reasons, I think Robert Whittaker still has one more in the tank. I think he can win this fight, and I'm going to say inside the distance KO. This is a little new thing I've been doing. I'm adding my most confident takes to the end of my picks video. So my first confident take is Stephen Nguyen moneyline. He should go out there and spank Mohammad. Yahya. My next one is Nikita Krylov to win. I think he should go out there and take down Bogdan Guskov and submit him. I also think that Robert Whittaker and Reinier the Ritter will not go the distance, and I also think that Petr Yan and Marcus McGhee goes the full 15, even though it's a big step up for Marcus. I don't think he's going to get finished, and Petr Yan just does not get finished. So I think the over in there is a good pick. Last week, I went 4 or 5 on my confident takes, with the only one being Kevin Holland losing. So keep that in mind. My confident takes are kind of good. And as for my sneaky takes, these are like long shot things that I said throughout this video that I like. I'm taking Martin Buday money line. I think he's going to go out there and beat Marcus Buchecha. I'm taking Almabaev money line. I think he's going to go out there and take down Jose Ochoa and win the decision. I'm taking Sharabutdin to win by decision. You'll probably get like plus 500 for that. The props haven't dropped yet, but I like that one. And I'm also taking Nurmagomedov by submission. I think if he wins, he's going to submit Bryce Mitchell, so why not just pick that as well? And the final sneaky take is Robert Whittaker to just straight up defeat RDR.